Hello, dear friends. This is Maxine Taylor with my Trumpology report for August 2019. Well, yesterday, Robert Mueller gave his testimony. And I just want to say that if I were ever in a position where I needed legal help, I would want that man in my corner. His honor, his honesty, his integrity shone like a beacon of light. And those of you who are light workers, I encourage you to step forward and shine your light even more brightly, because as I mentioned to you, the second half of 2020, everything's going to hit the fan. And you may be confused. You may not know who to believe. You have to ask within. You have to be so centered in light and love and follow that guidance and share it with the people who follow you, who love you. That's what you do. And if I may be of service to you, it would be my honor to do just that. And now here's a cheap plug for my summer special. If you have not yet ordered my summer special, my summer eclipse special, you can get it right up until the last day in July. It's the forecast, your forecast for the rest of the year. And actually it goes into 2020. You know I always deliver more. I over-deliver. So to make the most of why you came to this planet at this time, your forecast will help you navigate your own personal course forward. Okay. Oh, and one final thing, you know that if you would like an actual copy of your actual birth chart, it's not the interpretation, it's the printout of the chart itself. Just go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com. Send me a note. You sign up for it. It's free. Send me your birth data, and I will send you, free of charge, a copy of your birth chart. And I know I'm being redundant, but sometimes you have to hear it several times because Mercury is still incredibly retrograde right now. Yeah, you heard me right, retrograde. It's just, so many of you have told me, this is just a real doozy of a retrograde. Well, it's a doozy of a time for us. So let's talk about our doozy of a president, shall we? Okay, well, lots going on in his chart. First of all, we'll talk about the path of the sun. The sun is the giver of life. Wherever it is at present, that is the area of life that is activated, that comes alive, that gets your attention. That is where you live. Well, right now, Donald Trump is living and breathing and working behind the scenes. Now, you might not think he is because he's always in the news. His ego cannot stand not to be in the news. However, a closer look at his sun in the 12th house deals with hidden enemies, behind the scenes activities, subversive activities, spies, hospitals, prisons, etc., etc., etc. So this is the area that is lit up right now, and we won't see it. We won't know it until someday somebody writes a book that tells all, truly tells all. So on the 3rd of August, because this is his August forecast, the sun sits on Pluto. Now, Pluto is the planet of control. It's also the planet of transformation. It's out with the old, in with the new. Pluto rules his 4th house, of home and family and real estate. And so he may be working, well, he is working behind the scenes to cover up some real estate deals, cover up some family deals. But with Pluto, which rules the cusp of the fourth house, we are not going to see what's going on. There are major changes going on behind the scenes. Major. And you might be saying, well, how much more major could they be? Please remember my mantra, we ain't seen nothing yet. Okay. On the 19th, the sun sits on Mars, the red planet. Now, he'll feel this a couple of days ahead. Mars is the planet of war. It is very, very close to his ascendant. Mars is 26 Leo. His ascendant is 29 Leo, 58 minutes. This man is a warrior. He lives to fight. He will not bring peace. He has not brought peace. If you ever watched his show, The Apprentice, his mantra is, you're fired. And that's what he's done with his friends who he has hired. So as the sun approaches Mars, he's going to get angrier and angrier and angrier. Now, the concern is that, of course, he will express this the way he wants to, because he has said he's president and he can do what he wants, and he will. And you might say, well, we already know that. And that's a good thing that you know it, because he's going to keep doing it even more. Remember, his attitude is that he is the law unto himself. And why do I say that? Because he has said, I can do what I want. This is simply what we've seen on videos. Okay, so as the sun sits on Mars, he's going to get angrier and angrier. Now, Mars rules his fourth house also, so he's going to get angry with his family. Okay? And Mars also rules his ninth house of foreigners, foreign travel, foreign connections. So this indicates, just in case the Mueller report was not crystal clear, there was and is in his birth chart an indication of private activity with foreign nations. Private activity. I'm kind of thinking of the time that he and Putin got together, and American reporters, news people were not allowed in the room. The only one allowed in the room was the Russian translator. Anyhow, behind the scenes activities with foreign nations. There it is, right there in the chart. They can deny it. When it crosses his ascendant, when the sun crosses his ascendant on the 22nd and 23rd, right during that time, he will have a full head of steam, okay? And the ascendant is the most personal point in the chart. It's your personal image. It's how you present yourself. Now, with a 29, I've said this many times, but it bears repetition. With any ascendant of 29 degrees, 58 minutes, there are only 2 more minutes until the ascendant is in the sign Virgo. And that fills his whole first house. Virgo is nothing like Leo, the Leo ascendant. Virgo is a very sensitive sign. It takes everything very deeply, very personally. It has to be perfect, and it worries. So while that Leo bravado with the sun in the 10th house indicates one thing, we know how thin-skinned he is. And he takes everything personally, and with the sun in the first house, the center of his life moves from behind the scenes, nefarious activities that nobody knows about except the people involved, moves into the first house. And the mantra becomes, I'm doing what I want, when I want, how I want, because I want. Now, we all have the sun in our first house once a year, but we don't have the power that Trump has. And so just be looking at the end of August. And then, well, I will keep doing these reports and keeping you up to date so that you understand in 2020 what I'm talking about. And I may, when I do my forecast for the year, I may go into some of these things so that we are prepared. All right? So at the end of the month, the sun is in his first house and he's doing his thing his way. Now, the full moon, which is on August 15th, which is the day that Mercury comes out of the shadow of the retrograde, very big day, we have a full moon. And it's in his sixth house of work, of employees, of his health. I'm sure his health is good because he eats horribly and he doesn't get sick. So, this is his daily activities. The full moon, and I haven't written this in the chart because it gets a little active and confusing. It does beautiful things to his 10th house. Now, what this means is he feels very good about his public image. Okay? Remember, it's how he sees himself. So the sixth house, the full moon, is in the sixth house of work, and it trines his Uranus, his north node, his sun, which is lovely. It trines his Jupiter in the second house, which brings money. So there's more money coming in, lots more money. What it also does, it sextiles his south node and moon in the fourth house. So he feels good. He's busy working. However, this full moon is quincunx, his Saturn and Venus, in his 11th house of friends and group activities. And this means he is adjusting quincunx, his relationship with groups of people. The first one I can think of is Congress. Again, doing what he wants his way. And the new moon, which is on the 30th, sits right on his ascendant. It's in 6 Virgo 47. It sits on his ascendant. And that's him saying, I'm doing what I want, when I want, how I want, because I want. It's all about him. When I did his chart for his election, remember I talked about the first house in the diurnal chart. It's a me, me, me chart. Well, we've seen that. And there's more of it. Okay, that's the sun. Now let's talk about Mercury. Mercury has been retrograde, as we know. Mercury is, at this time, Mercury is the planet of communication, correspondence, and transportation. It's more the way we see things and talk about them. It's a communication planet. On the first of the month, of course, it goes direct, which is quite lovely. And so there is a Mercury return on the first of the month. So lots of talking to groups of people. Again, this is probably Congress, his friends. He's telling people what he wants. On the 6th, it sits on Venus, which is the lesser benefic. It is really lovely for getting what he wants from friends and talking with friends. Now, that's just what shows up here. On the 12th, Mercury moves into the 12th house. Okay, look at here. Behind the scenes communication. Sits on Pluto, control, total, out with the old, in with the new. Revolution on the 18th. And again, this ties in with the sun going through the 12th house. On the 18th, Mercury sits on Pluto. On the 19th, the sun sits on Mars. He is furious. Okay? We may not see it. Mercury communication sits on Mars, anger on the 27th of August. So he's yelling. We may not see it. He's arguing. I wish I were a fly on the wall to see how his staff handles his tirades. That's what this is saying. I remember when I was in elementary school, we were preparing, this was decades ago, we would prepare for a bomb, and we used to have practice drills, and the teacher would just walk into the classroom unexpectedly, say, take cover, and we'd hide under our desks. I can see the staff taking cover. Okay, on the 28th of August, Mercury crosses his ascendant, and he is spewing forth rhetoric. No matter what happens, in his mind, it's a victory, so be prepared. And so there it is in the first house. And so he's talking all about himself, probably what he wants to do, what his successes have been, whatever. Nothing new. We know this. We also know that nothing is happening yet. Have you watched my video on the 2020 election? I'm just saying. All right, let's keep on going here, shall we? Venus, the planet of love and money. It's the lesser benefic. Venus sits on Pluto, passion, control. It brings love. And on the 5th, when it sits on Pluto, this can be a time of transformation. Keep in mind that Pluto rules his 4th house of home, family, and yes, real estate. So there can be more money for him. Hidden. It's all hidden here from real estate, with family. And then on the 18th, Venus sits on Mars. And that is an aspect of love. You love it and you hate it. It's very often an aspect of sexual energy, along with Venus on Pluto. Venus in the 12th is behind the scenes activities. Think about it, all right? Now, on the 20th and 21st, Venus crosses his ascendant, and he falls in love with himself. And it stays there for the rest of the month, and of course, September, part of September as well. The last planet I want to share with you is Mars. Oh yeah, Mars. What we fight with and fight for. On the 12th, what's in his 12th house, first of all? He's fighting with people behind the scenes. Whatever face he puts on publicly, when that 12th house is triggered by Mars, by Venus, by the Sun, and by Mercury, you can bet your bottom dollar that public face is just that, a public face, because there's been a lot of goings on behind the scenes, once again, that we won't know about. Okay, so there's Mars on the 12th. I would say, for those of you who are on his staff, if you're watching, right around the 12th, take cover. Oh yeah, baby. Okay. And then, of course, Mars is going to move into his first house, and we will see his temper. We will see his anger on the 17th. I'm going to put that in here now. Mercury's retrograde, you know. So on the 17th, look out. We're going to hear a lot from him. He's going to be angry, angry, angry. We're going to see it, see it, see it. Now, one final thing. Jupiter goes direct on the 12th. Jupiter is the great benefic. It brings abundance, a lot of. Traditionally, it's the good guy in the zodiac, the best guy, because it brings blessings. When it goes direct, though, it goes direct, and we won't see this right away, probably in September. It's going to hit his south node and his moon. So there's a lot of south node and moon, which means there can be a letting go on some level of some phase of his home, family, and real estate holdings, even though it's Jupiter that may be doing it. Because Jupiter is a lot of, it's abundance. He will, of course, turn to his family for help. So I hope this is helpful to you. There is a lot more I could say. You know that. I'm going to leave it at this. Of course, I invite you to ask questions on my YouTube channel. So many of you are so lovely. And I feel like I've made friends with you. I haven't met you yet, but I feel like we are friends. And I always love hearing from you. And if anybody on Facebook, excuse me, not on Facebook, on YouTube, is rude, crude, lewd, or just plain crazy in their response to something that you posted on my YouTube channel, I'll take care of it. I will delete it. It's so important that we treat one another lovingly. Love is the greatest antidote for hatred and for fear. So, till we meet again, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Bye for now.